Hey guys, welcome to another project, and this is one of my favorite bags, and this is called Amara. In this project, we learn how to color block, how to do a window zipper. This is one of the best techniques that you could ever learn, simply because this is what they use in leather bags, and it's quite tricky to do it with fabric, but I'll make it easy for you. Let's go ahead and get started with
Print your pattern. This is how it's going to look. So I have arranged it in the order. This is 1A, 1B, 1C and 1D. And this is pattern number 2, which is a zipper panel. So all the ones together, which is 5 panels, we're going to attach them together in the same order. So we're going to join the top and the bottom ones first. So then that and that goes together, and that goes together, and the design matches because the design has been cut from one paper, so you can see the pattern that just matches. So these two will come together, and after all of this is attached, this pattern will go and attach it here. So let me just go ahead and cut all the paper around, and then we come back and show you how to join them together. Okay, here I have cut out all the white paper all around my pattern. So when I bring this and this together, you can see that just fits perfectly. And then I'm going to go and fit this and this, like so, and this one as well. So put them together, put a sellotape, bind it properly, and there's your pattern. So this will go and fit like so. Okay. So that's basically your pattern. For this particular design of Amara, what I have done is, instead of joining all of them, I've joined 1A and 1B, and I have left this join here because I'm going to do the different color block. So that's going to be black and this is going to be stripe. But you don't need to add any seam allowance because we're going to join it with a seamless zigzag join technique, and at the top you're going to bind it with a bias binding. So that way you just have your pattern already cut and ready, so you don't have to worry about where am I going to give the join. So I'm going to join these 3, join these 2, and then I'm going to cut my panels. I'm just cutting out my lining, so I thought I would show you, if you kind of use full length of your fabric, you're going to end up wasting a lot of this, which you're not going to use because this is just the handle coming up. But we can actually kind of fold this at the second notch and cut out a pattern like this, and the fabric here you can go and join it here, so you will be saving about 15 centimeters of fabric. So from here to here, if you fold it and go and patch this up there and then kind of cut out your panel pieces, you're going to save about 15 centimeters. Okay, here I have made a join at the top of my bag. Now I go and place my pattern like so and cut as per the pattern. Please, when you join this, please don't cut it to pattern, join it and then try to adjust, because if you do a little bit of mistake, it's going to be a nightmare trying to adjust this. So the best way to do it would be just cut a little bit extra, make your join, and then mark and cut it out, and that way it will be perfect. Here I have all the pieces cut out for my bag, and let's just go through one by one. Here are the 2 pockets. This is a pleated patch pocket and this is a zipper pocket. Now these patterns are not in your bag. These are separate, which will be there amongst all your pattern stash. So I have made different pocket patterns for all sorts of zippers, for 6, 7 and 8-inch zippers. So you choose which one you like. If you want a bigger pocket, this is an 8-inch one that I'm using, and this is a pocket that is like so. We've got 2 pleats in the center, so we're going to go and patch it up and also sew in the center. So the reason I've made it is some bags have got pockets already in them, some don't have. In which case, if you wanted to add extra pockets, you can always choose from the pocket patterns and then just go and add it to your bag. Okay, so this is the main part of the bag. That's the 4 panels in denim, and that's the side panel. and these are the two front panels. Now you can see I've made joins here. That's why you see the stripes going horizontal and vertical. So just make sure when you do your joins on the lining and on the main fabric, the joins are not at the same place. They're at least vary about an inch or so. So that way when we sew them together, they're not all in the same place, creating the bulk on the seam. Okay, so that is the lining. This is the main fabric. So let me keep this aside. What I have done with my pattern is I've printed off another set of pattern and I've made one for my lining, and these are the first ones that I printed, which is for these two panels. So before attaching these and these two panels, I have cut these two out, which means if I just print two sets of patterns, then and I can change it, do whatever I like, and kind of do cut and sew and color blocking, or you know, that sort of design. So I probably will be using this design again to show you another variation of this bag. So I thought it's best to do that way. So there's my lining. It just helps, you know, you don't have to join it and cut it apart again and so on and so forth. Okay, I've also got a zipper here, and this is just a long strip of fusible woven interfacing, and this is the zipper panel. The zipper I have taken 22 inches long, and this is an open end zipper. The reason I've taken an open end zipper is, number one, it's easy to find on the internet if you're just buying 1 or 2 zips at a time, and also this is a number 5. It's quite chunky zip, so it's kind of quite sturdy, and bags need sturdy zips. You can also use closed end zipper. It doesn't matter if you use it, but when we put the bag together, you will see open end zippers are a lot more versatile, and it's so much easier to make. And also you don't have to kind of bind it at the end because it's already got an end, so you can just leave it open if you wish. This is the front panel, and we need to join the side panels to this, and that's going to go and sit like so. Okay, now you know that we don't have seam allowance in these two because this is just cut in the pattern. So we're going to use a technique to join this without any seam allowance, which is called seamless zigzag join. And this is something that I've come up on my own, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So basically we're going to turn it to the opposite side like so, place it one next to each other, and don't overlap it, they just need to be one next to each other like so. Take your woven fusible interfacing and just place it like that, and we're going to iron it so they kind of hold the both pieces together, and we're going to do this on both the sides. There is the panel, so I've put my iron on full heat. Because this woven interfacing is 100% cotton, you can actually kind of give full heat, so it kind of, the glue on the wrong side of this woven interfacing will melt and attach both the pieces together. It just holds together, it won't attach it. We need to bind it from the other side. Okay, so now you can see both the panels are holding together. Now we're going to put a binding on the top and attach them together. The other way of doing it would be you could sew a zigzag stitch, keeping this line as the center line, so zigzag would bind on either side, but for this bag I'm going to use a binding. So basically I'm just going to keep my binding like so in the curvy shape and just go and sew on either side. That way this would kind of hold it together. You can also use a contrasting binding as well, but because we have got red as our lining, I'm just going to use black because it will be too much of red outside. Okay, I've changed my foot to the edge stitching foot, and I've kept my stitch length as number 3, and as I go along, you can pin it first, but as I go along I'm going to center my binding, lifting it up, just making sure it's in the center, and then just go and sew on the curve. What happens when you have the edge binding foot is that you get neat stitching on both sides of the binding. Now I'm going to turn around and just start on the other side. both of my panels are now ready. So we need to go now and prepare the lining. And before we prepare the lining, I just wanted to show you that I've already prepared my zipper panel. If you want to learn how to prepare the zipper panel, then there's a separate video in the list. Just go ahead and watch it, and then we go ahead with the next step. Okay, so here is the lining, and if you open the lining, you will see that there's a notch mark just about an inch and a half from the side seam. Okay, so just go ahead and fold it and make a crease mark on both of them. And after that, we're going to take bias binding, cut up your contrasting bias binding, maybe a couple of inches extra, or maybe like an inch extra, that should be fine. So now what we're going to do is on that marking, so remember this is the lining, and if you have a join like me, you have to make sure the join is on the wrong side. We're going to place the bias binding on the fold we've made. So the bias binding is going to go and sit straight like so, and also notice it's going to come quite close to the center front and the center back, but don't worry about it. We're only going to take a 1/4 inch allowance, so that should still be fine. But even if you go on the binding, it's not the end of the world, because it's only single layer. The layers will start doubling up from this side. So we're going to go and sew only on this side. I've changed my foot to the edge stitching foot, and let me just go ahead and place it that way. The edge stitching will be neat the same way like it is in the front of the bag as well. Okay, there is the flap we have just sewn in, and I've sewn in on both the panels. So let's go ahead and join the zipper panel. So I'm going to keep one aside, take the zipper panel that you have prepared, and this is the joy of using the open and zipper, because then you could work differently on each panel. So I'm going to keep one aside, and the next one I'm going to fold the panel into half, not the zipper, just the panel into half like this, and make a notch mark. That is my center marking. So make sure the zipper puller is facing the top. So now I go ahead and place it right in the center. I can just about see the center fold mark there when I cut the panels. So I'm going to put at the center mark here, and just make sure that I put a pin. And the same way, it doesn't have to go all the way in, but just make sure that it's kind of in a straight line. So I'm going to put another pin here, and just another pin here. So now we're going to go and sew on the other side of the binding. When we do that, we're going to go and kind of stitch this panel as well. Okay, so we do this on one side. When we do the panel on the other side, let me show you. Okay, this is the other side of the panel. Remember, you have got a U pocket, and the pocket is not binded on this side. So before we put the panel in the center, we're going to put it like so. But my pocket is too long, because this panel will be longer in your pattern. That's only because you can cut off the excess. Now just make sure that this panel doesn't go beyond this point here. Probably take about 1/4 centimeter, because when you sew on this line later on, this is the bag base. So when you sew like this, you're going to take about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch above from there in the line. Let me just keep that one there so you could see, and somewhere like that. So this pocket shouldn't go beyond there, otherwise it will go into the base, so we don't want that. So just about the base like that. So obviously my pocket is a little bit extra here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut the excess off. And because it's a tartan fabric, I can see the straight line, so I'm going to trim that much off. So now this should fit perfectly. So let me just go ahead and place it like so, and place a pin. Now I take my zipper panel again, just fold it into half, make my notch mark, and just make sure that I have the right side of the zipper. That's the right side, so it's going to go and sit like so in the center, and I'm going to place a pin, and exactly like the other side we're going to go and sew on the other side of the binding. So before I go ahead and do that, I'm just going to go and attach this first, and once it's in place, then I'm going to place this and then sew my stitch. Okay, lift your binding up because we have not sewn in the other side, and just lay this flat. I still have got my edge stitching foot, so I'm going to place it like so and start sewing my edge stitch. So now go ahead and place your zipper panel centering into the center, and then we sew a top stitch. Okay, I have centered my zipper panel, and I've put some pins so it's in place. Let's go ahead and sew the top stitch. You've got to give a little push because this attachment at the end will kind of be in the way of the fabric. So, and also when I start coming to this hump, I'm going to just give a little back stitch, so that's in place. And then finish. Okay, we've sewn in this side of the zipper on both the sides. I just thought I'll show you before you go ahead and sew in the other side. This is avoiding mistakes and just making sure you don't have to unpick it. Just go ahead and join your zipper like so, and make sure it's in the right place. How do we know it's in the right place? If you let the zipper be intact like that, and now though I have joined it with my notch mark in the center, see, easily there's a 1/4 of an inch difference from one to the other. This is when we know it's not right. That way we'll end up either unpicking or cutting the patterns in the side, then you have to go and chain the right pattern as well. So the best thing is I go ahead and kind of change the pin a little bit and just shift this ever so slightly so my panels are matching. So once my panels are matching, then I know I'm in the right place. And sometimes it's better to check 2 or 3 times than kind of doing a mistake. So now I go ahead and join it, and now we're secure and we can go and sew the stitch. One more thing I wanted to show you, I've just made a little tab. I've sewn in 2 sides of the bias binding, I've folded it into half. This is a chevelle hook, so I just pass it through like so, and then I'm going to, just at the beginning of my zipper, I'm going to place it like so and keep it there. This is to hang your keys, because you usually lose your keys in the bag, and if it's at the beginning of your zipper, it will always be there and it's easy to find. Okay, we've sewn in this side of the binding, and then we've also attached this chevelle hook. And let me just go ahead and close my zipper and just make sure that everything's right. Yeah, that's looking perfect. So now I just open my zipper. This is the beauty of using an open end zipper, because you can work on both the panels separately and you don't have the zip attached here, and then you're kind of forever trying to turn it around, and it's a little bit cumbersome in terms of making it. So we need to attach the pocket on this side. So let me keep this one away. Again, the same rules apply. We're going to place this pleated pocket like so, and just make sure that this is about the baseline, and I think that's just about right. So when my zipper falls like this, because when you're using your bag, your zipper won't be flat like this, because it will be like so. So there's plenty enough room. So straighten it up. I'm going to straighten it up there. Just make sure my corners are right. I'm going to place some pins. Now we're going to go ahead and attach it on the outer side of the binding. The pocket is now attached. now we need to kind of put a stitch in between the box pleat, inverted box pleat. So I'm just going to go from the base of the bag towards, and I'm sewing in between these two pleats here. Because I have a tartan fabric, I can see my straight line. So otherwise you just go ahead and mark it if you're using a printed or a plain pocket. So finish with the back stitch. Same way, go ahead and sew for the other pocket as well. Both sides of the lining are now complete. Now there's nothing else to do for the lining, so I'm going to keep this aside. We're going to work on the front of the decoration of the bag. This is one of the sides of the bag. If this is your first time working with stripes, just make sure you pay extra attention, because there is nothing worse than having a wonky sort of zipper window. So you got to make.
Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the project. Leave a comment below and let me know, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.